Thank you for watching today's webinar regarding the tonnage law changes that took effect January 1st, 2018. I am Heather Bartley, the Program Specialist for Commercial Feed at the Wisconsin Department of Agriculture, Trade, and Consumer Protection. Just a couple of housekeeping items. First, please feel free to submit questions to the department by emailing datcpfeed@wisconsin.gov. Second, you can download the slides from within this video and two handouts that will be referenced later during this video by downloading them from the webpage on which this video was posted. Today's webinar will be discussing the recent changes to Wisconsin statute that took effect on January 1st, 2018 related to commercial feed tonnage. The content discussed today will be applicable to 2018 tonnage reporting and inspection fee assessments. The 2018 reports will be completed in early 2019. The statute changes affect every Wisconsin feed license holder. After this webinar, we would like to invite you to take a brief survey to assist us in determining future outreach materials and techniques. It is important to remember inspection fees and tonnage are two different things. The inspection fees are monies collected by the department and are assessed based on the quantity of feed sold or distributed. The fee is paid by the business that is first to distribute or sell the feed in or into the state of Wisconsin. Tonnage is the quantity of feed itself. Any person who is manufacturing or distributing commercial feed in or into the state of Wisconsin is required to hold a valid commercial feed license issued by the department. This also applies to persons whose name and address appears on the label of a commercial feed as the guarantor of that feed. There are three exceptions to the licensing requirements. If you distribute commercial feed as it was packaged and labeled by a licensed manufacturer or distributor, you do not need a license. If you distribute bulk commercial feed as it was manufactured and labeled by a licensed manufacturer or distributor and repackage the bulk commercial feed into small containers, you do not need a license. Lastly, if you distribute only custom mixed feed using ingredients that you purchased from other licensed manufacturers or distributors, you do not need a license. Please remember that a custom mixed feed is one that is formulated by the animal producer for his or her animals, and you are not representing any nutritive guarantees for the feed. Remember that retailers are still exempt from licensing. When we talk about retailers, we are referring to entities that merely purchase and resell feed manufactured and labeled by a third-party company. We also want to clarify that with the statute changes, brokerages and distribution businesses that are first to distribute in or into this state would require a commercial feed license. There is a chance that those entities may have been able to conduct business in the past without being licensed. We look forward to working cooperatively to notify anyone who may not have needed a license in the past that may need a license going forward. We've uploaded a document to the webpage where you found this video titled Summary of Tonnage Changes, and if you look at the document, you'll see that it is in a draft type form, meaning it is visually demonstrating the edits you made to the previously existing tonnage and inspection fee requirements in Wisconsin Statute 94.72 subsection 6. We'll leave you to read through the changes on your own and summarize them as we continue with today's video. In the past, the very first person to manufacture and distribute a feed, no matter how many times it changed hands, was responsible for reporting tonnage and remitting the inspection fees to the department. In today's world, that is no longer realistic. In layman's terms, the changes that took effect January 1st, 2018 bump the responsibility to the person or entity that is the first to distribute a commercial feed in or into Wisconsin. In other words, if a feed moves from the original manufacturer in California to an animal producer in Wisconsin and changes hands 5 times along the way, the 5th person that sold the feed to the producer in Wisconsin is responsible for reporting the tonnage and remitting the inspection fees. If the feed moved from California to Wyoming to Iowa to Minnesota and finally to Wisconsin, the Minnesota firm is responsible for reporting the tonnage and remitting the fees. Again, the fifth transaction is the only one to report the tonnage and remit the fees. Along with the change up to the responsibility requirement, several other changes were made to the statute. One change was the implementation of a minimum inspection fee of $50 for 200 tons or less, including distributions of 0 tons. Another change made was removal of the exempt buyer license status option. This means that no licensee may apply for or receive exempt buyer status regardless of the amount of feed being exported or distributed out of state. In other words, all licensees will be held to the very same requirements. Finally, all credit reporting requirements were removed. While prepaid purchases are no longer required to be reported to the department, please know you still can reduce your total tonnage by the cumulative total of commercial feeds and feed ingredients that another licensee first distributed in or into Wisconsin to you. All 4 changes, the responsibility of the tonnage reporting, the minimum inspection fee, the removal of the exempt buyer license status, and the reduced reporting requirements for credits, took effect on January 1st, 2018 and are applicable to reports filed in January 2019. With regard to reporting out-of-state distributions, previously it didn't matter if the transaction wholly or partially took place in the state of Wisconsin or how many times the feed changed hands. The statute change eliminated the question of responsibility and clarifies the responsibility for inspection fees lies with the entity to first sell or distribute commercial feed in or into Wisconsin for further sale. We are hopeful that the changes made will further clarify the responsibility and allow for simplified reporting. We currently collect the tonnage amounts in terms of product types, for example, small animal and pet foods, corn products, and mineral products. We'd like to know if you have any thoughts on the tonnage information your company may find valuable or is interested in seeing. We invite you to share your thoughts by completing the survey. The survey location is on the same webpage where this video was located. Alternatively, you can submit an email with feedback to datcapfeed@wisconsin.gov. Previously, the department required entities distributing commercial feed to another entity to indicate on the invoice or sales receipt that the inspection fees were or were not paid. One statement left in the current version of statute still talks about that invoice indicator. We have addressed the concern and it will be corrected in the future. For the time being, please know the department has placed low enforcement priority on the invoice indicator. A second document you'll find uploaded into the webinar files is a compilation of frequently asked questions titled Tonnage Reporting Guidance. Please feel free to print and keep that handy for future reference. Please remember you can submit any additional feedback or follow-up questions you might have to datcapfeed@wisconsin.gov. The department greatly appreciates that you watch this video. Please take a few minutes to complete the tonnage survey located on the feed program webpage at www.datcp.wi.gov. Enter the term feed tonnage within the search bar and select the applicable result to be taken to the webpage. Thank you again, and that is the end of today's video.